welcome to Coffee with Clover. Today we're coming to you with a special edition on Black History Month. I want to introduce to you my guest. She's an award-winning entrepreneur, social justice advocate, and also a documentary filmmaker. Please welcome Shelley Dye. Shelley, welcome to the show. And today I just want to talk to you on legacy. I wanted to know, how do you define legacy and what does it really means to you?
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction, Clover. And, welcome to Black History Month. As you know, this is a very important month for Blacks and everybody, actually, not just Black people. But for me, I would say legacy is passing on knowledge, my finances, our history, and everything to our kids because they're going to take it into the generations, and our generations need to know their past because it's very important to know the past in order to understand the future. So I think a lot of knowledge and a lot of storytelling, things that our parents didn't really tell us. So
But what exactly can we pass on that we will hope they will take from generation to generation and that everyone would follow so that they do have a good knowledge of the history?
I think history is one of the most important thing because for me, my parents, they my grandmother, like summertime I would be so happy. This is like back home in Guyana where we live in the city, and then we go to the country. It was like tradition, and then our grandparents would tell us stories. But I think our grandparents told us stories more about our family history, like who is your great grandfather and how they lived and things like that. I wish they had told us more stories about community and and slavery and things like that, so that we were able to understand like how we came to be, our existence, and things like that. So those are one of the things I miss that they didn't tell us. But nevertheless, our grandparents were all storytellers. But to me, it was mostly stories about our families and our different generations, but not much about what happened to us as Black people.
Yeah, I've heard stories from my grandmother, my grandfather, and even my mom, but nothing regarding the history of what their foreparents would have told them. So I still grew up not knowing what to expect for going forward. I learned along the way. Um, so as parents and grandparents, when you see how they lived back then, what do you think they should have done in order to instill? Because I suppose you got more of your knowledge when you became an adult and when you migrated, and then we're getting more a full understanding. But as to legacy, what did they leave behind that you can also carry the torch for your children?
I think for my parents and grandparents is mostly like this. They focused a lot on discipline and having the best education. They felt that having education is what gonna see us through life. And yeah, we pass on those things to our children, but education is extremely important, but that's just part of the story. There's quite a lot more that I've learned along the way. I had to learn everything for myself, and I want to be able to pass those things on to my children so that my grandchildren would be a lot more versed than than I was, or even my kids were. So for me, that's a lot of that. That's what legacy means, making sure that we pass on these key things, as much information as possible, and be very communicative with our children. Don't hide anything from them. Like I said, my upbringing was a little lot different from what I see now and how I raise my kids. And some we only raise our kids from the way we were raised, right? But then we get to learn that there's a lot of things that they left out that we could have gotten more of. So it's just like a learning process. So we have to be a little more easy on ourselves, easier on our kids. Don't be so hard on our kids, even though our parents were so hard on us, because it's a different generation now, it's a different time now, so it's a lot of communication.
Mhm. Yeah, the legacy of education is actually a good way because the more knowledge you gain, it takes you through the world and you'll have more wisdom and more understanding of how to navigate life. But what exactly would you leave for your children going forward?
Oh, I would leave my finances. That's the one of the biggest thing, because you could have all the education in the world, but if you don't have finances and how to invest, teach your children how to invest and how money works, the education comes like nothing really. You really have to, they have to grasp how money works. The rule of 72 is very important that we should teach our children. I think that's one of the, if we don't teach them anything else, if we teach them how money works and the rule of 72, I think they would have got something from us as we pass on. Yeah.
Okay. I remember growing up, like money sense was what maybe most families didn't have. I remember in school they instituted savings. So once we get to class, I think it was every Monday or Tuesday morning, the teachers would have our bank books, and then our parents gave us monies, and we give to the teacher, who then in turn they take it to the bank, which was a good example that they were setting for teaching us how to save. Well,
Exactly.
what have you learned later in life that your parents didn't tell you, but based on um, what you learn along the way
Well,
pertaining
I
to?
yeah, I think they didn't teach us much about grasping opportunities, going after opportunities, like preparing ourselves for when we see opportunities to grasp it, right? Like sometimes, like we grew up, most parents would say, well, I want you to be a doctor, or I want you to be a nurse or a lawyer. No, like those were the three occupations that you have to have. If you're an artist or something like that, they want to know, well, what's wrong with you? Get a real job or get a real career. But not knowing that we should be able to open all kinds of opportunities, because yeah, you could be a lawyer, but who knows, down the road, 20 years from now, the world may be so different. So it's good to encourage our kids to be the best they can be at whatever it is, whether it's an artist, or whether they like writing, or whether they love storytelling, or it's okay to be a lawyer, it's okay to be anything you want to be. Just be there for them, encourage them, and provide those finances that they're gonna need.
I think it was probably a case where this is what they probably did not achieve A, so they would love for you to achieve A, but knowing that C is what you would take too. You don't want to be a lawyer, you don't want to be a doctor, maybe you want to be a carpenter. And
Mhm.
because those skills are what seem as if it's fading. So yeah, the legacy of education and financing is a good thing. But this is what I want to ask you.
Mhm.
Um, for where you're at today, if you knew then what you know now, what would you have done different? What is it that you have learned? The big lesson you have learned in life you didn't know then, but you know it now. And if you had known it, you would have applied it.
Right. Um, I was always a person that's a go-getter. And so I don't blame my mom or my parents for anything really. I appreciate everything that my mom has done for me, my dad has done for me, brought me to North America, get all the good education. But I think what I've learned is to always be prepared. As we were little and we're in Girl Guides, they teach you how to always be prepared. And I find now that's a very good skill to have. It's like they says, opportunity plus preparation equals success. And once you keep that formula, I think that's a good formula to go through in life. Always be prepared, because things are changing so fast. And as you know, what we just came through 2 years now into the third year, we're still not completely out of it. And so always be prepared, because the opportunity that were there before pandemic, it's better now. Some opportunities, especially for Black women, and we always need to be prepared, use our skills that we acquired over the years. Some of it our parents encourage us to do, some we didn't do, but some we've learned along the way. So it's a constant learning, and I appreciate learning. I get excited about learning and knowledge. And so those are some of the things that I have learned, and I will continue to learn and pass it on to my children.
Yeah, as leaders, as parents, we have to keep the momentum going. So we have to be of an example so that they may want to follow.
Exactly.
do you wish to share with us your legacy? What is it that you would leave to your children if you don't want to be direct, but what's a legacy that you would leave for your children?
Well, I would like to provide service because we are here as humans to provide service. Like Christ talked a lot about he was a servant, right? To all of us. And if we are part of him, that's what we have to do. That is our calling. We all have to so I would encourage them to serve and to try to do this and to live right, do the right things in life that's going to move you forward. And yeah, I would love to leave, like I said, everything that I've learned, all my knowledge, all my skills, and I would also like to leave everything that I acquired goes, I really think of the next generation, and from what I see happening now, they really need us to encourage them to keep going and do not give up. So, and always to be intentional. Whatever they're going to do, be intentional about it and be a good human being and develop really good skills, and always don't spend out your money, invest your money because you're going to need it later on. And that's the kind of legacy I would like to leave, like finances, my home, my knowledge, history, which is very important because, like I said, you have to know where you're coming from in order to know where you're going.
How are your recipients handling that? Are they receptive of the fact that you're whatever you're doing, they would have to keep it going?
Well, there's no guarantees. There is no guarantees. You're just hoping that they take up the mantle because I know when my mom passed, I took up her mantle and it's a very good mantle. And every day I see all the things that she used to tell me. I can see it for myself now. I preach to my sons. I have two sons. I preach to them every day that look at the things that Granny was doing, I am doing now. So you got to take up the mantle and go with it. So yeah, it's just generation to generation. Once we give those good values and those things, they're gonna see it. They're gonna see for themselves. They may not see it now because they think you're always like telling them off or complaining, but because you want good for them
Mhm.
and you can see what they can't see. So it's good that we're able to pass on, especially family values and all these important things.
Family values, that's so important. So as we go through Black History Month and we reflect on our foreparents and how far they've come that we're here today, we just want to wish everyone a happy Black History Month. And Shirley, just want to
Yes.
thank you for taking time out to share on the topic of legacy to our viewers. Thank you.
Thank thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye
And
bye.
that's it for Coffee with Clover today. See you next time.